So for those of us that were not on the, would I say, orientation call, we agreed that if I ask a question, sometimes, especially if you can hear me, on mute, someone should unmute and respond, because sometimes I might not be on the call screen. I might be trying to share screen. I'm not going to be on Google Meet to be seeing what you're doing. You get, I might not be seeing your reaction or your comment. So the best thing is always to unmute and then speak, right? If you unmute and speak and I tell you to pause, maybe that means I was explaining something. But most times if I ask a question, it's always better to unmute than to send reactions. Okay. So today, someone should confirm if you can hear me, so I can proceed. If I have to leave and rejoin, I think my network is also okay. Thank you. All right. So today we are going to be will not take time to be like an hour call. Maybe it might extend than that, but then today we are going to be talking about the principles of design. It's called website design. So we can't do without design. All right. So we have some developers that are good in developing, but then their results sucks. I mean, they don't have good UI design. You get, so some of them they pay UI designer, but in this bootcamp we are going to combine both of them. So you're going to try to know how to approach design as an expert, right? So let me bring in some samples projects. Okay. Okay, so before now, how many of us are currently designers? Like, you are currently a designer. Okay, so quickly, I asked if there is anyone amongst us that is a designer, and I haven't gotten the feedback. So let's just say none of us is currently into design.
I am, sir.
Okay, well done. So some things will not be really new to you. So on my screen there, I have the principles of design. Though we have principles of design, we now have elements of design. You get, so this is a beginner class. If it was an intermediate class, we will not be doing all this one. We have principles of design, and then we now have the features of design and the other one that I mentioned. Okay, so basically design is a way of communicating things visually. All right, we want to design something, you're sending a message visually. And then we have different types of design. We have a whole lot, but the basics, the father of them or the mother of all design is graphics design. Okay, I myself, I started as a graphic designer before I now learned UI design, and then web design, and then other parts of design, little by little, brand identity, you get. But when once you understand the principles of design, which is the foundation of everything, the idea that I got from graphic design is the same idea I used in UI design. The only thing that changes is that different niches has their own framework. Do you understand? Graphic design has their framework. Brand identity design has its own framework, but they still apply to the same principles. UI design has just little framework added. You understand? Do this, do just some laws of user interface and user experience, right? So, but then we want to understand the basics, then you can flow with them. Every other thing will now be on top. Okay, so so the first principles of design, which I'm going to share with us, is balance. And I think I'm going to be, though I'm not using my main system for this, I should bring in some graphics design because you understand better, you see it. I have some web design samples on that I'm going to show you guys, but I would like to show you guys using graphic design so that you can understand when you're designing. Okay, what I'm teaching now, I might not really have the time to be emphasizing on it when we are building. So it's better we now do it early. Do you understand? This is not my system, my main system. So this one is just for outside work. Just give me a second, please. All right, so while that is coming up, let me start to explain the first principle of design. The first principle is, though there are more than these, honestly, there are more than these, but these ones are the core foundation, and which is balance. Okay, I have a slide, a full slide that I prepared for principles of design, and that slide is in my other PC. So what I'm doing now is that I'm using an image to explain to you guys, which is why I want to get those graphic design, because I want you to understand better. So balance is about the structure of your design. Now let me show you an example of design. Look at this hero section. Look at this hero section. Hero section is the first section of the website. Balance is that you look at the left and the right of your design. My screen is not showing. Okay. Is someone else should confirm that?
Oh, your screen is fine.
Okay, so if you're not seeing my screen, kindly leave and rejoin. It could be network. Just leave and rejoin us. I think I can continue, right? You guys can see my screen. Let me continue.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So I'm going to let me bring an image, and this image is not my design. Please, this is one of my colleagues' design. This particular graphic design. He posted it today. So this is not my work. But I want to show you guys something. I want to go to where my work is. It will take time. All right. So these other ones are my work, and they're very, very scattered. No, it's not good there. Okay, so I was explaining balance. So balance, if you look at this diagram here, okay, this first one that says balance, you look at where we have this red, and then the red again comes in below, almost like opposite it, but below, right? So the main thing is that in the eye, it might not really make sense to you looking at it red here, then black, black. But in the eye, looking at it from afar, you see that there is balance in the structure of these cycles. Okay. Now, in real life, I was trying to explain it in this design here. There is balance in this hero section because the text takes the left alignment, right? Then there is an image that complements that text. Now, let me also show you in this graphic design by Isong Justice. That's his name. I think it's still loading, or did I not wait for it to finish? Okay, so here we have it. So I was explaining balance, so please try to get me. If you look at this design, look at where he placed this woman's head, right? I was not the one who designed this, But as an experienced designer, you know when someone is trying to achieve something. First off, you see where he kept this woman's head and this flag. You see that it tries to align with this book launch text. That is him trying to achieve balance. Secondly, in this write-up, book launch, we are coming to London. Notice how this guy, the B, L, and then the rectangle holding this, we are coming to London. Have you seen how they are balanced? Like they are like in a box, but they're not in a box, right? But you see the balance in it. You get book launch, then we are coming to London, now holds the base. Please mute your mic. I don't know who is, I think it's Samuel or somebody. Please, Samuel, please mute your mic. We are coming to London now serves as the base for the book launch. That is what balance is trying to do. Do you understand? If you now look at this extreme edge, he used an arrow. Then this, let me even bring in a line to show you guys. He brought in an arrow. Now you see the way this, look at the line I just drew now. This line. I don't know if you can see it. I just drew a line. Look at, you see that this arrow and this H and the box that is holding this, we are coming to London, they are ending in the same place. You see? Oh, sorry about that. The end were the same place. Let me also duplicate that arrow so you can see what I'm trying to say. Can you see? That is how balance works. So balance, it doesn't have to be like this exactly, right? But the thing is, when you look at the elements in your design, which one is flying, which one is sitting down? Do you understand? Yeah. So that is how you achieve balance in a very practical way. And then let me check for another section that has balance. This section has balance, empowering the future with AI. Now, after writing this text here, so balance the section, the person brought in another text here. Our AI solutions help you innovate, work smarter, and discover new growth opportunities so that your eye is not going to leave this place scanty. Do you get? Another way this person would have done is would have been like to make this place, to bring this text to the middle. But since he brought it to the left, it would not be nice to just leave this side just empty like that. So he had to bring in a subtext to balance it. And then to now put the balance in a very better base is now this divs, this box 1, 2, 3. You answer that the first box starts with where this E and F starts, empowering the future with AI. The E and F starts with the box here. You see, that is balance. And then this other one to the alignment. The alignment also ends where this box is. All right. So you're going to understand better when you're practicing. This is balance in play. Look at these smart cooling solutions for modern home. Did you see how this box tries to have the same top alignment with it so that things will not be flying up and down? So that is how balance works. Then the next principle is repetition. Repetition. So element that repeats itself consistently, not just consistently, but in a way that keeps that is more harmony to the eye. You understand? The example that we have here is we have cycles. The first one is 4. After that 4, we now have the next cycle coming down again 4, and then we now have the black boxes. It might look random, but it gives some harmony to the eye. Do you get? Now, look at it here again. Repetition. Do you get? 4 red, 4 black, 4 red, 4 black. So let me see. In real practice, this is how repetition works. That is the one I showed you was just an example. Was a dummy, but this one is not a real example in a real website. The way these divs, this is a grid actually. The ones we start building, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now if this person was to add more color to this, would have made this first. I think let me even check it here. I think I've seen something like that. It's not here. It's not here. But repetition is that, as you can see, the person repeated these divs with the same size, okay, and the same color, and then ensure that every element inside that these divs has the same alignment and the same structure. And the way you're seeing it, it is very accessible for your eye to understand. Rapid AC repair, AC gas refill, AC cleaning, AC inspection. This is repetition in practice. Do you get ahead? So there are some person that may have made, I think I've done something like this, right? So look at mine here. Look at my own repetition. This is the one this is my project. So though these sections, all of them have the same design structure, but I screenshot this place on hover. We want to hover, you're going to see these images. Now, repetition is that each of these divs for these products, they have the same layout, the same label, right? And then I now brought in this big guy here to balance it up. The principle of balance still plays here. You get, but then there is repetition in the product listing. So that is how repetition works. Even this guy, there is still repetition here, but it's not really visible. You get, okay. So I think I did a better work of repetition here. This screenshot. This is not the this is not the single screenshot. I've worked on this one before. The site is live, but I don't want to go there now to distract you guys. Okay, this is it. Okay. Okay, so it's loading. It's going to be a little blurry, but it's loading. So notice how I did repetition that you are still talking about. Know that each of these elements, each of these principles are interrelated. I can still use the same section to explain another principle. So see this place that is white, do you now get? And then that is white on the left and white on the right. Then the middle now has a color. That is still repetition. Do you get? It is repetition that I use in this place. And then I use the color in the middle to give some beauty to that section. All right, just like what we had, we had blue, and then we now had, we had black cycles, and then we now had squares, if I'm not mistaken. In that example I showed you, that's the same thing here. Okay, so at the end of the day, just make that section to come out. So instead of making everything to be white, I just made white to be left and right, then the middle, something else. All right, so that is how repetition works. So if you have any question, you can let me know. Let me go to the next principle. And these principles are going to be, it might not make sense now, Sha, but we want to start building, and then I go shout. Then contrast, very important. People mess up with the law of contrast, big time. Like this principle I'm telling you, it can help you in your Canva design. It can help you in your normal day-to-day design. It's not only for web design. Do you get? It's applicable to any design niche that you want to do. But this is the foundation. All right, contrast is one thing that people really beginners, let me just put it that way, really fail. Now, contrast in summary is just black should be on a white background. White background should be what? On a light text. It's just simple thing. So this one says using differences to highlight key elements, right? So as you can see here, the first box is white, the second one is colored, and so forth. But in real life practical, it is how contrast works. Look at contrast there. So this place says cool comfort starts with our expert AC repairs, right up, and the rest. Notice that behind this white write-up, that there is a dark color overlay. so that you're going to be able to read this white text. If this designer, right, if this designer only wrote this thing the way it is without any something behind, sorry, any dark gradient or dark shade behind, it will be very hard for you to read what is written here. The same thing as, let me show you for example now, new text here. And then in that new text here, I'm going to give it a color white. Now you see that this place that there is no dark overlay, and then I still have the mind to do what? To write the white text. Now tell me, can you easily see what I wrote from far, even coming closer? Do you understand? That is how contrast works. Contrast is you being able to differentiate two elements that are on the same place. So a white background should not have a light text, in simple terms. A dark text should not have a dark background. The same thing applies here. Let me see if I will see another place. All this place is contrast. This is white right up on a light background, but I want to look at for a real better example. Zoom out now. Oops, sorry, I was on the wrong screen. The same thing applies here. What our customers say, they use white here because if they use, this is a gradient. If they use any random, if they use black in this place, let me just use and show you. It will not come out. It will stress the eye. You see, let me make it big. It will stress the eye. So you now see that between white and black, that the white that they use here made that place to be very readable. Okay, real life example again. This one is what I did. This is my own project. I use what? A white text on this place, and before putting this text, I did a little overlay from a dark overlay that came from below. It's a gradient sharp. It came from below and fade up. That's why you're going to see the man's face is a little bright. Then once as it goes down, it gets deep and dark and dark. And then I wrote this thing in white. If I wrote it in black, it will not come out well. If I wrote it in blue, yes, it will not come out well. It doesn't have to be black and white though. That's why I said light colors and not say white color. Light colors should not go with a light background. Dark color should not go with a dark background. So you have to test your colors. Do you understand? So on the basics, white and black is like a neutral color in design. Some people say that white and color is not even a color in graphic design. So, but then that's why you can use white and black to do a full design, no problem. And they can now put in the colors later. So that is what contrast does. The same thing with this place. If I did not put a background of a little dark overlay, the text here will not come out well to give it that contrast. It has to be bold for someone to read. You don't have to stress the eye of your reader or your audience or your target audience. See this place, very bold and sharp. Do you understand? Very bold contrast, beyond limits. Then they use a white text. Then behind that white text is what? A dark background. So when once you just see the site, when once you enter the site, it gives you this feeling that you know where you are, bold to hold your attention, right? And then I talk about elements of design, which is not is different. I said element of design is different from principles of design. Images is an element of design. They use, though it's not the topic for today, but we used a very strong image that depicts this particular product. Do you understand? So once you want to source for your images, please go for high quality images. Then you can later reduce the resolution and then upload on your site. But go for images that are relatable and has good quality. So this is one element of design, images. All right. So back to our principle of design. Let's not divert. So are we following? Let me know. I've been talking for a while now. Let me know if you're following, if I'm too fast. I'm waiting for you guys' feedback. Oh. Let me go and check something. There you go. Okay, so let me come back to Figma. So we have the law of proportion, so which tries to scale elements for better balance and focus. Let me look for this. This is a law of proportion. So proportion is everything is not supposed to be big. You get so, but then everything is important in your design. So this graphic design, as you can see, the proportion is that the woman's picture is big, right? And then the book, the ebook that she's launching is small, but both of them are what bold. So it's not because you want to launch an ebook, the book is going to be big because yeah, it's an ebook, and then the woman too, she's the author. I have to also be big. No, can educate your client. Though this is not a graphic design class, but when you're designing in your product, as you can see here, this is small and this is big. You see, everything is not supposed to be big on your project. Everything is not supposed to be big on your project. You have to know what has to be big and what has to be small. That means you have to know what to give priority to. Okay. There are some designs that I can do. For example, now there's how you do a design, and then this coming to London, this coming to London can be the priority depending on the concept that you have in mind. Trust me. There is how we can make this coming to London to be very important, but it's not of importance in this kind of concept. If it is like a let me say countdown kind of design, or let's say it's a music release album, you know, there are some designs that we are coming to London will make sense. You get, or there is how in this same design, so this same book launch, we are coming to London. There is how we make it to be big and then still pass the message. That's why design is very, 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 very strategic. You get, so depending on what you choose to give relevance to. So everything is not supposed to be big. That is the summary. So you choose what to give relevance to. The same thing goes with emphasis. But emphasis is that you need to be able to give attention to one particular thing at a particular time. Now, you are a designer. You are the one that choose what you want people to read first. That one thing, just give me a second. That's one thing I teach students. You are the one that controls the mind of your audience, your reader. As you can see, let me leave that one first. I've used that one so much. Now, for me, I want you in this particular project, I want it that when once you visit this website, the first thing I want you to see is the text. Now, this is for this one. For this one, I want you to see this image because you agree with me that this image captured your eye before the text. The text is big, but then you did not read it all. First of all, you saw the image, right? So as a designer, you choose what you want people to read first. You choose what you want people to read first. So you have to control them. Everything is important in the design, but it's not everything that is very necessary. Sorry, everything is necessary in the design, but it's not everything that is important. That's my own personal rule. Everything, right, is necessary. This whole design, everything is necessary. But let me just say this hero section. Let's talk about section by section. This section, everything is necessary. We are going to put everything, right? But it's not everything that is important. Why am I saying so? You see the way this for this one, I'm not the owner of this project, right? Read this heading. Can you guys, there's any feedback? We don't have time. It's already tonight. Let me know if
Okay,
network took me
I'm
out.
hearing
Yes,
you.
we can hear
Okay,
you,
where did
sir.
you stop hearing me? All right. So I was trying to explain that the designer is trying to make you. I showed you the first design that I did. I showed you this one as well. But I now had to also bring this on to show an example that the designer here is trying to make you to read this text first. When once you're reading, you have a glance of this image, then you can now read the next write up here. Then you can now take action. Then you can now, these ones are like complementary elements trusted by 20,000 homeowners, right? That are that's a small text. So they try to make you read things one by one, how they wanted to read. The same thing with this place, because normally people read from left to right. So they wanted to read this guy first, loved by customers. So why did they not take this loved by customers to this side? That's what you should ask. But then they wrote here, loved by customers, professional cooling you can rely on. Then they now brought a testimonial here because they wanted to read that this is a testimonial. Do you get ahead? And they made it to be bold. You see, they made it very bold. The text bold and black. Okay, so that is how the law of emphasis works. And then unity. Unity is just simple. We should know that already. Everything in your design should have harmony. Okay, there should be harmony in your design. Your arrangements. If you look at this place, there is unity here. See the alignment. If you come down here, there's also an alignment. Each part of the design has unity that adds to the overall of that section. I think you understand this better when we are practicing. Let me also come here. You see this place now. There is unity because when once you see this, the may you see this place arranged like this, you just know that these are different categories. I don't have to explain to you, but because of how they are arranged, that unity makes it better. So even the colors add to your unity. Honestly, colors add to your unity. So that is a summary of unity. Unity is that the things have you should have harmony. What is it? Okay, guides movement. I've explained movement. Guides the eye through the design. I've explained movement in emphasis that you give direction to your viewer. Do you understand? I want you to see this woman first. But once you see her, you now read that this is a book launch. Or you're going to first of all read this book launch. Then you now want to know who is launching this book. Do you see? That is why we are coming to London is small, because for the designer or the client, it's not that important. Like I said, it's not my work. Okay. So that is the summary of the principles of design. And please, these principles, try to, if you wrote it down, you want to see a design, try to look at different principles that were put in place in that design. Okay. You can go to Instagram, depending on your FYP sharp, but I lost my Instagram sharp. The one I have now is like a new one. So I'm still trying to even build my FYP. But my other account, once I go to my search bar, I'll see designs. Okay. So the best thing to be a better designer is to study other designers' design. Study design. Study design, screenshot design and study them. You get that's how you can be a better designer. Okay. So what you can do is you can go to Instagram, check for if you're just starting up, just search for website design trends or website design. You see people's work. If you do that for at least 3 days, you know the algorithm now, you're going to start seeing it more often. So you can screenshot their designs and then study them. Look at how they played with their hierarchy, how they played with their alignment. Okay. We will not talk about hierarchy here. Geez. Oh my God. Please, very important. Hierarchy, alignment. Let me add that one here. What am I even teaching? So hierarchy is that you need, the hierarchy rule is almost the same thing with the emphasis, but hierarchy is that you need to know the most important thing to bring first. Yes. From the important things, other things join. Look at this design now. They started with the important thing, which is the woman's face and the book launch. The other thing became smaller. That thing became smaller. That thing became small. Leave this one that says it's young justice brand design. This is his design. But I'm not, let me leave it like that. But this place, this is where the main flyer is, this square. You look at everything, the hierarchy is reducing. They can't be two Oga at the same time. You see that everything is reducing small till this down part that it now says a contemporary Ghanaian novel inspired by events of blah blah blah. Now, that one, so we can't even read it well because it's not as important as you knowing that this is a book launch. It is when you know that this is a book launch, you now have the interest to know who is launching the book, which is why this woman's face is big also. And her name is big. Then you can now want to now know the name of the book. Can you now see the drawing, the joining now? You now want to see what is the name of the book which they launch. Then if that one now has your interest, you now come down to now know, okay, date, time. Because if they can't catch your listing here, if they can't get your attention here, this one does not matter. Same thing as design in web design. If you are not able, you see that this image is almost the biggest image of this website. Let me see if there's another one. You see, this image is likely the biggest image on this website. So, because we want to get your attention, that is the power of hierarchy. This beyond limit is also likely going to be the biggest text. Your hero section is like the most important section. If you can't get someone's attention in the hero section, you've lost them. Which is why you need to communicate on your hero section very well. Make it to be very nice. Very nice doesn't mean you have to put everything. When I say very nice, you can see how this one is just very minimal. We have some elements here. We have some elements in a text and an image. Finish. You get. So hierarchy is very important in your design. Hierarchy. You see that these things are small. Why is this rate not also big as beyond limits? Because it's not important that much. So there has to be hierarchy. These two are the main OGs that they want you to see first and get your attention. Then alignment. We have left, we have right, we have centered. But as a designer, what you're going to be using more is going to be left and right alignments. Centered is there, all right? Justified is there, and you'll be using it, but you'll be using more of left and right. Now, like I said, study designs. Time has gone. I wanted to ask some questions. If you look at the design, you see that the designer is focusing on left alignment, which is why the right top is left. I see that it sinks everything here sinks down. Okay, so cool, comfort, you see. Then even the right top goes where? Left. The button arrangement starts from the left. This proof of work, see, it starts from the left. All right, so this is left alignment, and then on this other side you now have it's still left. Look at it here. I just love the AC. Everything is coming from left. You read from left to the right. Okay, so then this one has a centered alignment, as you can see. Centered, the right up, centered. This thing I'm saying now, people will do mistakes. So, okay, so please let's take a call. I was taking this thing on the last call, attendance on the last call. So what you do is, I think let me just be the first. So you just copy. What the hell am I? So you just copy and let me just give me a second. Let me make the group for people to be able to send messages. However, while I'm doing that, please you can unmute and ask me questions. Mm. Okay, so number one, let's see. Okay, so you guys can follow suit maybe after this call, sha, but you can if you can do it on your phone and still do it while listening to me. Please just take a quick attendance. All right, so where is my screen? Where was I? So I was trying to explain what alignment, please. Alignment is very important. Let me explain another part of alignment here. There is when you combine two alignments in one place. You get, we have a general, let me explain it. Let me break this down. We have a general type of alignment, okay? And then we now have an inside div alignment. Now, this is what I mean. This structure, right? This structure is left alignment. Then the inside divs are like the text and the contents are now having what? The same alignment. Good. Then the same thing with this section. Now this other section is a 2D. This is a 2D section that also has, you know, left alignment. I'm looking for the one that has different alignments. Now look at this. Okay, so this is a div, this is a section, and then this section has left and right kind of alignments. Okay, so some things are on the left, some things are on the right. Now you now see that on the this is my left one. This is my left. On my left here, the left div has elements written and starting from the left. You see how it's structured very nicely. Then on the right div, we now has a picture and then a little write-up also neatly arranged. So I'm looking for a complex layout. Now you look at this one started in the middle. Look at here, this is what I mean. So look at this, study this section with me. This section from here to here is a section. Okay. So a section is a part of a website. Websites has section by section, and all of them forms one page. So in case, let me just explain that. So this is like a home page. This is a full page. And then the first section is called the hero section. Then after that, we now have, this other one don't have a name. The last section is called a footer, right? So the one that I say, adjust your footer.
Please,
I mean,
what is the name of the last?
the last section is called the footer, Footer, the footer, okay?
Okay.
Yes, then this top part is the hero section. And this hero section has the header, okay? The hero section normally owns or takes, houses the header, yeah. So this thing you're seeing is the header. The header is where you put your menu and the logo, you know. So this is the header. Let me show you another header. So look at it. This is a hero section. Like I said, the first section in the website is called the hero section. And that hero section has what holds the header. So this is, look at the logo of the brand is here, and then there is menu, home, about, solution, features. You now have search. So this is what the header. The last example for this is this one. From here to here is the hero section. Then the header. There are different types of header. That's why I'm showing you this. So Look at the header here. It has a logo and then the menus. Okay. So back to my explanation. So this particular section has a different kind of alignments. First off, it has a centered alignment. You see, expert tips for AC maintenance is, let me zoom in for you guys, is in the middle. This subtext is also in the middle. But then the ones you now come to the three divs, these things are divs, or I can call it grid. But once you now look at this grid layout, they are still in the center. They are still in the center. Look at, they are centered, right? Each of them has text that are starting from the right. You see, we now have this on cool sense October 2015. We now have text that starts where? From the right, sorry, from the left to the right. Okay, so you all start. This is my left one. In case this thing's mirroring, or this is my left. So start from the left, from the left, from the left. So you have to be very intentional about every part of your project. Every part. See, this is the same thing here. Every part of your project needs to be intentional. So that is the rule of alignment. You can use centered, you can use left and right. So, but just know the rule before you break it. That's one that I normally see. There are some websites that are going to see that I have broken some rules. Even this project, some rules don't break, but you will not notice it. And the rules are broken because of some things. Even something like this, you get this creativity that breaks the rule, but then it still makes sense. So you need to know the rule before you break it. As simple as that. Which is why we're going to start with simple landing pages. Once you know how things work, then you can now bring in your own creativity, go wild, and the rest of them. It's just like this Beyond Limits now. This Beyond Limits on the main website, if you scroll, you see it very well. But somehow you feel like, okay, why has the image, covered this guy? That is like breaking the rule. Okay, but breaking the rule, there is something to make up for that. All right, so I think we've touched color. We've touched the basic things. All right, so let me just wrap up by touching some other thing about the features of design. Sorry about that. Now, I mentioned about that the principle of design is different from elements of design. So let me just have a run through on the elements of design. And for me, number one is always images. Images, you need to use good images that relate to what you're doing. You can't be doing a website for a perfume business, and then you're bringing in images from a clothing brand. Do you understand? Images is very important, relatable images, and then it should be of high resolution. So one of the places you can get high resolution images, quality images, is FreePic. Okay, you can get some from Pinterest, but sometimes when you're downloading, like I don't even get images from Pinterest, though, except it's for graphic design. But for website design, let me even leave graphics part. For website design, you can use FreePic. If you have the creativity and the idea, you can now use Gemini to do it. There is a website that I've done. I don't want to leave my Figma screen for today. I don't want us to focus on this. 80% of the images in that project rather was done with AI. You get, so depending on how you're creative and what you want to achieve, you can use AI. There is no limitation, there is no restrictions. You can use, but FreePic has good images. After FreePic, you can use AI number 2. Okay, give it a prompt, or you can get the sample images and upload on ChatGPT to give you a prompt that will give you this, and then you can now modify that prompt. The third place, you can get quality images that I know of is on blast on splash. So those guys, they have, I'll send the links to the group so that you can just click it
Please,
and see.
can you list those sites for us when you are done with the class? Maybe you can drop it in the group.
Okay, yes. I'm going to drop the links for you guys in the group. So please, gathering gathering elements for your design can take time. As a matter of fact, forget, you might even gather finish and do a layout. There's a project that I did the graphics on Photoshop and use it for the hero section. And after like a day or two, I don't like it again. I just deleted it and then do something else. So one of my principles is no matter how long, doesn't matter how long you took to do something, if it's not making sense, remove it. Do you understand? I used over 2 hours to create something, but then, creativity after sleeping and waking up, looking at it again and again, do not really sit well. I saw some errors in it and I had to delete it, not minding that I took over 2 hours, 3 hours to create that thing. So my point is, take time to get to source for your images or any resource you want to use. The next element of design is font. Font has your bringing beauty to your design. Trust me. Take time to check for your font. But for me, one of the fonts we are going to be using for this bootcamp is Poppins. Poppins is one of the standard and nice fonts. And then, depending on the project that we're going to work on, we can now check for any other font that will serve as the primary font. But Poppins will serve as the secondary font. That is like for text. Poppins. Also, I can still drop the link for you guys. So don't settle for the default font that you have. If you're a graphic designer, you understand better. You have to download fonts. Look at this project now. The font that they use, they really brought out this concept. This is not a regular font. Even this, look at it here. Unlock the power of AI innovation. You have to source for font that matches your project. There's a project that I did, and I promise not to leave my Figma screen today. Look at this one. This one is one of my projects. Let me zoom in. You see, the font I use in this hero section is a custom font. Do you get? I had to take time to look for a font that matches with the style of the brand, the style of the beauty hair, something. So it would have not been hard for me to use the regular font that I saw in my Elementor. So take time to source for fonts. If it doesn't make sense, the design takes time, honestly, but the main thing is the result. You get, I'll not come and tell you how long I took time to check this, how many fonts I changed. I'll not tell you, you don't know. You don't know how many fonts that I changed, but at the end of the day, you now see, this design is fine. You get, that is how design is like. Almost all the niches is like that. So take time to check for your fonts. We have serif, we have sans serif. So mostly you're going to be using sans serif on your project because website design is not graphic design. Yes, website design has the way things are being run. You will not see too much unnecessary script fonts. When I mean script font, I mean all those script fonts, all these font that has styles that is always slanting. You don't see much script fonts in the website because it's not graphic design. You understand? And even these fonts, if I use it in only the heading, this one, Crown Your Beauty, I use it in only the heading. Look at it here again. You see? Only the heading that I use that stylish font more than hey, it's your identity. Look at it here again. Founded with love and passion for beauty. Then the order of the text is what's normal sans serif, non-cough, the font that are not coffee at H. Okay, so you need to, all these ones are things that even if someone does not tell you, just study. Look at, like, ask yourself, why did this guy use this font for only the heading? and then the text, like this on luxury human hair, has normal font. So that's what I mean by studying design, right? So after font is color. So you need to choose, that's the third element of design. You can be writing these things down. It's very important, except you understand already, Sha. Colors, colors can scatter or make your design. Trust me. So your client might have a color palette that they want to use. You have to look at it again. You have to test it. Would this thing make sense? You understand? You have to look at it 2 times. As a matter of fact, I did a rebranding for a church in UK, right? So they had, so when I was brought on call, I mean, to just explain 1 or 2 things for them, and I just explained to them that their color is dull, which is true. So I had to work with a graphic designer because they had a graphic designer already. So, and we came up with a better color palette. We had the primary color, secondary color, and the rest. So colors, the best way you can do is that you can check, for example, now for depending on the niche that you want to do your website, you can search online for colors for a furniture brand. You see that mostly you see black, you see gold, you see, just check for relatable fonts. It's research. I mean, design is research. I'm saying font, that font, now you go research and you go check them. Color as well, you have to check for it. Do you understand? That is, you gathering elements for your project. It takes time. Sometimes it might not take time, but even as you're growing, it won't really take time for you. But as you're starting, it might delay you small, but it's for the best. So check for fonts, check for colors that relate to a particular brand that you want to do. For example, now this one is what they call it is more of a gaming brand, AI rather. Okay. So now, AI does not really mean that it has to be gradients and this and that. But based on the message we were trying to communicate, we had to use gradients. And even the images, they are AI images actually. But then we had a style. That's when you're not going to see any off color. They sync. You understand? Every section they align to each other. Even the icon background here, they align with each other. Okay. So if your client has a color palette already, then fine. But if it doesn't have, you just advise them respectfully that, oh, this, and then tell them. If they still insist, they try to still. Of course, the product that you're going to post. There's some product I finish, and based on what the client wants, it did not come out nice for me as a designer, but for clients, satisfy them and go your way. All right. So that's it for color. Then other things are icons in website design. All these things now, icons will make your work to stand out. All these things. So where you can see good icon is flagsicons.com. So these are icons, as you can see. These are elements in design that makes your work to stand out. Okay. So any questions so far? Please, these things I'm saying is going to come in play when you're working. Walai. Any questions so far so that I can explain what you may not understand? Okay. So 2 more elements of design I want to talk about is spacing. We'll talk about spacing. We're going to talk about texture. And then we're going to talk about line. Okay. Now, let me even start with spacing. Number 1 rule in design is that your work should be spacious. Not too spacious, but Spacing in design makes it, might even see people they discuss first. Spacing in design makes it very easy for people your to read your to read your write-up and to understand and see the beauty in your design. Trust me. What I'm explaining in this call, we're the only 15 people. How would they understand this thing when we start doing practical? Okay. Okay. So spacing, these are things that you not really see it sharp. Nobody could tell you, but then I'm hard to be on this call. Spacing makes your work beautiful. Trust me. If you look at this design, there is enough space in this place. It's not, people call it white space, some people call it negative space, but just know that your work should breathe. Your work that is one of my rule. Like your work should breathe. Look at this place, the space. You can read this thing easily. Even if you don't want to read, you want to scan through, you can scan through it easily. Even this place, you see. So we're going to talk about margin and padding when it's time. Margin is the space outside an element. Padding is the space inside. So this pad, look at the padding that they give in this place. Spacious, you see. Good, negative space. This spacing in this guy makes it easy for you to read through. Look at this place. All this is as if it's scanty. It's not scanty. It is design. This is how professional designs are. Do you understand? This place is not empty for just empty sake. As you can see, they had to now bring the arrows here. So space your design, space your work, please. I know what I'm saying. The same thing in this section. This one is a dark theme website, but you see the space. Let me delete this in that I wrote. If you look at, sorry, I'm distracted. If you look at this guy, there is a good space in here, and there is good space in here. That is padding. And you look at that space, if you look at it very well, it's always measured. I'm going to show you guys how we do that. Okay. So this up has the same space, and this down has the same space. There is spacing here for you to see this image. Things are not being clustered. So please look at study designs. Look at this section now. You do see how the space, this FAQ. Can I schedule test drive? Do you offer financial plans? How long is the warranty? There is space. Do you get? There's even space in between the write-ups. And it makes it very easy. It makes your work to be fine. This thing I'm telling you. Oh God. Spacing makes your work to come out very fine. So very important. Spacing is an element is an invisible element in design. That one you know go see them. Unlike icons and images, but spacing is one thing that it is there. Look at this guy, there is space here, there is space here. Because this up is a little clustered, they had to make sure that this down part your eye can rest. Okay. Then texture, though texture is not really compulsory, but I mean, what I did here, what happened here, if you look at this down part, you see that there is texture. There is texture. It just texture is not compulsory, but I mean, it just depends on your project. Texture it gives depth to your work. All right. And then, yeah, it makes your design to look fine. Then we now talk about line. So line are like lines, and these ones are like objects in your. Let me just put it this way: lines, rectangles. These ones are shapes. So shapes in your design makes you, but as a designer, you are going to likely use rectangle, cycle, and just lines. Like, but the thing is, these shapes make, in summary, let me not even say lines. Shapes makes your work to come out well. All right. Okay, I'll emphasize on typography. Let me write that down. Typography. So using different, we're going to also talk about custom design. For example, you can design something on, let's say, on Figma, or what do you call them? or Canva or any way, and then bring it to your design. Okay. Let me see. Oh, give me a second. All right. But I have to power my system. All right. So we'll talk about custom design, but custom design is like your own creativity. You design a song and then you bring it to your own project. People use custom design a whole lot, even official sites. You get this thing now, you might not even achieve it. It might not really achieve itself with building it live, but you can design it and then bring it to your project. Let me just share my screen. I don't want to share my screen today. My Chrome screen. Base wallets. Yep, let me share. Confirm if you can see my screen. Is it showing?
Very well, sir.
Okay. So most of the things here are custom graphics. As a matter of fact, these some of these things are custom. Look at like this one now. If I drag it, I can even copy it. They designed it already, or took a screenshot of it, and then bring it on the site. I just copied that. Let me paste it on Figma. I can show you guys. That is what custom graphics look like. What I was trying to explain. Some of even this one, I can drag it. Even this guy, I can drag this. Okay, but some of them are embedded in a way that you can't copy it. But somehow, one of the things I thought we redesigned this base wallets from scratch. So I had to inspect and copy, I would say stole some of the images here. All right. Some of you know how this thing works. Using you follow it up small, and then you see where the image is being embedded on the source code. And then I saved it. That got the class for today, Sha. But that's how I got most of the images here and we use for our practice. Even this one, I think it's my drive. So that is how custom graphics work. This website as it is like this, this is a landing page that you can build with WordPress. You can build with WordPress and charge good money. Get so it just needs, and you look at the principles of design here. You see the alignment. Did you see the alignment of what I'm teaching you guys today? Look at the alignment. The text is here, the write-up is here, and then there is space. There is space. See contrast. This is contrast. This color that they used here. You see, this is black, but they use this color to do what? Create emphasis with this blue, which is their brand color. Do you get? We offer more. This is the same thing. And you look at how spacing it is. I don't know if you can see my screen, and it makes your work very neat, very, very neat. Okay, so all right. So any questions?
Okay, sir. My question is, how were you able to know that they made use of custom design on the page?
Okay, first of all, obviously, where is it? Okay, first off, I mean, it's just a normal thing. I don't know how to say it because out of experience, I don't know that this is a custom design. That's like this one. Let me share my screen. And most times, another way you can notice that you can drag it and it will follow you. I don't know if you can see my screen. I'm trying to share my screen. Where is my screen? Can you see my screen? Let me continue. Is it up?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I don't know what's happening, Sha. Okay, most times these things are drag you can like this one now. As I'm dragging it, I don't know if you can see, but as I'm dragging it, some of them will move with you. You get some of them will move with you, and then some of them you just know that like this one now, you don't know that this is a graphic element. Know how this is a graphic element. Though there are some top-notch side that they want to achieve some things from scratch, like bringing it one by one. So for me, I just try to study the website and then see not everything will be custom design. Like, let me show you one of these sites. I Renest. Renest, even that's this thing self. Even when we were self, there's an element that is not custom design, but they had to bring it in. So this page is loading. So I'll just show you some things. It's still loading. So as time goes on, you just understand how this thing works. Okay. This section is a grid section. Okay. So in studying your design, you can just see that this is a background. You can download any background, but let it just make sense. This is a background, and then this background has this write-up. Okay. And then this is like a carousel. This is even an image. This thing that is moving is an image. So I think maybe they use a code to make it to move. Because I just drag it and it followed me. Let me copy it to Figma so that I can show you guys. Okay. So these one are logos, Google logo, their brand logos that they have worked with. And then this is a video, right? That is embedded in this particular section. I think my network is still loading. But I was trying to show you that not everything that is like this particular part is not custom design. It's loading. This particular part is a kind of a live calculator or something. So not everything that is custom design, you yourself, you're going to see it once you interact with it. That is one thing. That's how you're going to really know. You interact with the element and then you're going to find out. Okay. So that's how it is. Any other question? We are done for today's class. I really wanted people to join this beginning part too, because this beginning part, I think it might not be a long class, but the little you're going to learn will help you in your practice. Out of over 100 people, we have less than 20. All right. So I'm done. Any questions? So we can retire for the night and go to other things.
Okay.
Okay.
I have a question, sir.
Hey, go on, please.
All right. Thank you so much for everything. Honestly, Enjoy the class. Sorry, it's not pertaining to today's lesson.
Hmm.
I couldn't join the first night that you did the class. So I don't know, was it recorded?
Yes, it's recorded, but where that recording is what is stressing me. I want to send the recording to you guys, but I'll
Oh,
have to check for it because I'm using, you can't record on Google Meet, the free version of Google Meet. So I had to use someone's Google Meet login. So I need to like check the person's drive and source it out from other of his video that's recorded. So that's why I was encouraging people to join live because even in watching the record itself can be stressful. But anyways, our first class was introduction. Our second class, official class, was last this week. So yeah, we shared some insights. So I'll check for that video and share to you guys.
all right, all right. I will appreciate sir.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. It's so interesting. I really enjoy it. So to add to what the person that just spoke said, some of us we are slow learners, and some of us actually, we haven't been exposed to even graphics designing and all this stuff. Even though I follow up the elements of this in design, that one is okay. But my problem is I'm just pleading if there is any material, at least you drop for us, for people that are interested, like someone like me, at least maybe after the class we go through. I think that will help us a lot before we start the main practical, so that as we are starting the practical, we can also flow flow together. Plus the if you have any audio recording, so as you are going through the material, you follow up with the audio. So that is my question.
Okay. All right. No problem. Yeah, I have my own personal. I should even update it. I have my own personal document for principles of website design that I did 2 years ago. So, but it's not on this particular PC. That's why I had to use images from Google to explain. Of course, it's what I know already. So I just had to get the images and explain to you guys. That is not even my slide. Okay. So I'll check for my own slide on my own PC, my other PC, and then I will now share it to you guys. Then the recording also, like I said, I'll have to sort it out. What I was even trying to do was I'll just sort out the recording, and then that my slide has even more things that I have explained here because I had to after writing, I explained it. It's self-explanatory. That's my document. It's a PDF. So it's been long. I've not even gone to that kind of thing. So I'll check it and then I'll forward it to the group.
All right, sir. We appreciate that. Even me, I will appreciate that if we can get materials we can be going through to keep what you are teaching us fresh. Somebody like me, I even like to go through like a class I joined. I like to go through it over and over again so that the thing what they taught will sink in very well. If I can get the recordings of the whole class, I will appreciate it, sir.
Okay. Fine, it's not a problem.
Alright.
All right. So by now, I think we should get our Figma ready. Though we are still in the introductory part, but then after, is there any challenge in downloading Figma? You can mute your mic, Samuel.
Okay.
So I hope we have our Figma ready so that, and then after Figma, the next two, I was trying to, I've forgotten. The next two we are going to use is, we are going to be using, I shared it on, is it the second call? We are using a software in our laptop called, what is it called again? So, local WP, yes. local WP. So please, you try to download local WP. And when you're downloading local WP, on this, sorry, off your Windows firewall, off your, just local WP. It's a green, I'll share the link again in the group. Local WP, it helps you to host. I explained it on the other class when we are using it. You get, so, but for those of us that may, let me not go to that route. Everybody not all fingers are not equal. So just download local WP and then you set it up. Okay, it will help you a whole lot. So that's what you're going to use for your practice. It serves as a local host on your server. So our next class should be about things like this. What is a host? Okay, I explained that already. I explained host, domain. These are primary things. Okay, so I think we are done for today. In the absence of any other questions, can call it a night.